Okay, suppose we get an expression like this. It has 3 terms in it and begins with an x squared. This is what's called a quadratic expression. And there's a specific method you use to solve quadratic expressions. It seems quite complicated at first, but once you practice enough problems, the method becomes ingrained in your memory. So I'm just going to show you how we solve this simple expression here. So the first thing we do is we draw 2 sets of brackets. If we have an expression where the highest power is to the power of 2, this means that we're always going to have 2 factors. So we start off with 2 brackets, then we factorize the first term in the expression, 3x squared. So we'll say 3x on this side and x on this side. So 3x by x gives you 3x squared. Now we could have, why don't we write 3 and x squared in the other bracket? Well, the rule is that we have to have an x within both brackets, so that won't work. So we found the first term in each bracket. The next thing we need to look at is the last sign in the expression. We see here that it's a plus. So if it's a plus, this implies that we're going to have either a plus, or a minus, within the brackets below. Now, because the first term here is a plus, it's actually going to be a plus. So I'll explain that shortly. So once we've decided which signs we're going to use, we've got to factorize the last term in the expression, which is 8. So what are the factors of 8? So we could have 8 and 1, or we could have 4 and 2. The trick here is when we multiply what's here by 3x and add it to what's here multiplied by x, we should get 10x in total. Okay, so let's just try. This is just a question of trial and error. So let's try 8 and 1 as an example. So let's put 1 in here and 8 in here. So now if we multiply 1 by 3, we get 3x. Then we multiply 8 by x, which gives us 8x. If we add those two together, we get 11x, which is not equal to the middle term up here, which is 10x. So therefore, this is not the correct solution. We need to try something else. So let's try the 4 and the 2. So we write down our brackets again. So let me see. What if we put a 4 in here and a 2 in here? Now we can see that 2 by 3x is 6x, 4 by x is 4x. We add them together, we get 10x. So this looks good, doesn't it? That equals to 10x. So now we have found the factors to this expression. It's as simple as that. So remember, the most important thing here is to look at the second sign, the last sign, and that will tell you the signs that you need to use within the brackets. So if it's a plus, that means it can be either a plus or a minus. And because the middle sign was a plus, we can say that it's a plus. Because if we had a minus, then when we add up the two figures, let's say here a -2 and a -4, then we'd have -6 minus 4 is equal to minus 10x. So that would not equal to this. So let's do another example. This is our new expression. We start off by creating the pair of brackets. Then we take factors of 6x squared, so that would be 3x by 2x. Could also be 6x by x, but let's try 3x by 2x first. Now the next step is to look at the last sign. So again we see it's a plus, so it must be a plus plus or a minus minus. But this time, because in the first sign we have a minus, then we know that in here we're going to have a minus and minus. So the last step then is to factorize 15 by 1 or 5 by 3. So we want to get minus 19x in the middle. So what do you think that might be? I'm going to take a guess here. Let's put 3 here and 5 here. So that gives us minus 10x. Those two give us minus 9x. We add them together, we get minus 19x, which is what we want to get. So we know that these are the correct factors. In this case I was just lucky, I picked the right numbers in the first go. I might have tried 15 1, or I might have tried 3 and 5 in reverse order and got the wrong answer. So I was just lucky in this case. So it's always going to be a case of trial and error. Okay, so we have a quadratic expression here, and if you look at the last sign, it's a negative. So how do we go about getting the factors of this expression? So the first thing we do, as usual, we create our two sets of brackets. Then we take the first term, the 6x squared, and we factorize that. So you could either have 6x by x or 3x by 2x. So we'll try the 3x by 2x first. Now because the second sign is a negative, we know that that implies that it's either going to be a plus minus or a minus plus within the brackets. So I'm just going to put minus minus for the time being, and then we'll figure out which one should be the plus. Now we're trying to get 10x here in the middle. When we add the products of the outside terms and the products of the inside terms, because there's a 3 on the outside, there's a 3x which is 3x which is bigger than the 2x on the inside terms. That's 2x here. 3x here is slightly bigger, so I would say then that we should put the plus over here, because whatever we multiply on the outside is going to add up to something more than the product of the inside terms. So that's what I mean shortly. So the final thing we have to do is factorize the 4. So that could be either 2 multiplied by 2 or 4 multiplied by 1. So let's just try 2 by 2 for starters. Okay, so we multiply the inside terms. We get minus 2 by 2x gives us minus 4x. Then if we multiply the outside terms, 2 by 3x gives us plus 6x. Add those together, we get plus 2x, which is not equal to this. So we know then that this is not the right answer. So let's just try another alternative. So let's draw the brackets again. 3x, 2x, minus and a plus. So let's try 4 by 1. Okay, so we multiply the inside terms first. The minus 1 by the 2x gives us minus 2x. Multiply the outside terms, gives us plus 12x. Add them together, we get 10x. And this looks pretty good, doesn't it? It's the same as the middle term. So therefore, we found our factors, these two factors here. So the key thing to remember here is that when the last sign is negative, that implies you're going to have a plus minus or a minus plus situation. in the brackets.